At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, no birds ever sing respect new crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax.
What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere?
You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He lives in that house, won't come out anymore.
Who is the Onceler? And why does he hide? My goodness, what smells like it died?
That is the smell of organic matter. Not natural, but man-made. The world around you once glistened with glee. Man couldn't kill nothing, not even a bee. But humanity became plagued with greed, so much so that Mother Nature began to bleed. Our carelessness and neglect behind a horrible effect.
Mr. Onceler, tell me more. Tell me the entire story. I promise I won't snore.
Well, for this story, young chap, we must go very far back. To before man, where life all began.
Can you stop rhyming? It's making me sick.
Okay, kid, stop acting like a... Anyways, look at this plant. It's an ivy. The ivy cannot move by itself, for it's a plant. All plants are producers, meaning that the only thing they can consume is energy. How do they acquire this energy, one may ask?
Yeah, how do I acquire that?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, plant. Plants like you get their food from the sun in a process called photosynthesis. Plants take in the sun's energy, along with carbon dioxide and water, to produce sugars like glucose. Along with this, plants release oxygen into the air when they're done. Overall, the main takeaway is that plants use carbon dioxide to produce oxygen molecules. There are two routes that can take course after photosynthesis. First, the plant could die.
What?
The organic matter in the plant is now dead and will decompose into the lithosphere. Or the plant doesn't have to die.
Yay!
Then the plant is eaten. Now the consumer can roam around living its normal day. Throughout the day, the consumer will respirate, putting out carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Sooner or later, this consumer, like the plant, will die, and it will decompose as well. Now, decomposers respire as well. They will expire carbon dioxide too. Now, what happens with all of this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? It goes right back into another plant, and the cycle continues.
Yay! But Mr. Onceler, what does this have to do with humans ruining the earth?
Be patient, young one. We'll get there. The carbon cycle remained, for the most part, unaffected during Earth's early years of existence. First, let's step back a little into time. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth millions and millions of years ago. After a colossal meteor wiped out their species, the remains of dinosaurs were buried by millions of years' worth of sediment. All of these layers of sediment pressurized into fossil fuels. Now, coal is a form of fossil fuel that has been used since 1000 BC, but it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution until alternate forms of coal, like kerosene and gasoline, were used on a much larger scale. Take the discovery of oil reserves into account as well, and fossil fuels exponentially became essential to modern society. Enter the Lorax.
The Lorax? What's that?
The Lorax was a creature that spoke for the Earth. The Earth would tell the Lorax how its day was going, how it was feeling, and especially how the carbon cycle was doing.
Hey Earth, how's the carbon cycle going?
Well, Lorax, to be honest with you, it's not going well at all. There's this new trend going around the world. It's called petroleum. Everyone's using it, and unfortunately, it's added a whole new aspect to the carbon cycle in the worst way possible.
What? How is it doing that?
Well, the carbon cycle used to have a balance, equal intake, equal outtake. But now that fossil fuels are in the picture, more carbon is being emitted than the atmosphere can keep up with. Not enough is being taken back in.
I can help.
So the Lorax took off, trying to get people to cut down on their carbon emissions. The Lorax talked to vehicle drivers to carpool, take mass transit, and fly as little as they can, for transportation is responsible for an estimated 28% of greenhouse gas emissions. The Lorax talked to homeowners to get more energy-efficient systems, as electricity is responsible for 22% of the greenhouse gas emissions. The Lorax talked to factory owners to stop polluting our atmosphere, as industries in the United States alone are responsible for 22% of emissions.
Okay, Earth, I tried my hardest to get the people more aware about the carbon cycle.
Oh, Lorax, thank you so much. But our fight isn't over yet. We can get carbon emissions down as much as we want, but there will be no one to respire the carbon cycle if we don't have any trees.
What do you mean, Earth?
Deforestation is ruining the cycle. Every single minute, somewhere around 36 football fields of trees are cut down around the world, and most of them are not being replanted. 11% of global greenhouse gas emissions caused by humans can be blamed on deforestation. This percentage is equal to the amount of emissions from all the cars and trucks on Earth.
Okay, I'll tell them to stop cutting down trees too.
Wait, Lorax, don't forget about geological sequestration.
What does that mean?
Geological sequestration is the process of injecting carbon dioxide into deep subsurface rock formations for long-term storage. This process usually serves its purpose for oil and gas refineries, as it is supposed to act as an enhanced recovery system. When all of this carbon is stored underground, there is no way for carbon to be recycled for the better. It's gone forever.
Hold on. Wait a second, Mr. Wensler. This is great and all, but where do you come into the story?
Well, kid, I was once just a small child like yourself. I heard all of this talk about the greenhouse effect, climate control, deforestation, and I dubbed it as nonsense. I didn't believe it would affect me at all, until it actually did. The world around me was crumbling, and there wasn't a single thing I could do about it. Now I'm stuck here, hiding in shame from the earth. I'm embarrassed that I couldn't do anything to save her. I should have believed the Lorax.
You talked to the Lorax?
Why, yes, I did. I was the very first person the Lorax talked to prevent carbon emissions. I didn't even listen to the Lorax. That certainly did not stop the word from being spread. Oh, Lorax, how the world needs you now.
That's very sad, Mr. Wensler.
It is indeed, kiddo. You see, many fables, such as that of the lifted Lorax, end with a happy ending. But this environment, my friend, is not happy. It will never go back to being happy. All because I never listened.